I feel like I'm on the floor.
I said in the skies, it's higher. Give me a second, Jason has to announce the meeting.
I didn't sign in. How to sign in?
There.
So we have the February landmark CB1 meeting. We're going to start it up with our first presenters.
Okay, so there we go. Now. So we're here from here.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm
Grace. Thank you.
Megan Squays, Barth & Partner, for the preservation consultants for the new Jack Shaman Gallery at the New York Life Insurance Company building at 108 Leonard. And let's see, we have with us tonight the owners of the gallery, Jack Shaman and Carlos Vega, and the director of operations for the gallery, Walter Biggs, and the architect for the project, Juan Carlos. I'm gonna Perez, there you go, otherwise known as Pepe, and of the IQ architecture. And so we're gonna walk you through this project. It's an adaptive reuse of the banking hall and executive office, former executive office spaces at the New York Life building. And project is in two parts. The bulk of the presentation is the sort of basic infrastructure needs that for the gallery. That's followed by a very brief master plan for future exhibitions. So it's sort of like a baseline scope of work that needs to happen first, and then providing for the future of the project. This project is incredibly exciting. Not only is it going to bring this new use to the building and a new life to the space, it's going to extend the Tribeca Arts District to the east, and it's going to bring unprecedented public access to these spaces. I'm sure all of you remember the 2014 project, the residential conversion of the building. And as part of that, spaces were privatized. The executive offices were turned into two private apartments. Jack has acquired those two apartments, and they are going to be incorporated into the gallery. So that becomes part of the public space. So something that was never conceived of in the original project is now going to be provided for under this project. I will say this has been a labor of love. Jack and Carlos and the team have been at this for almost 2 years, trying to strip it down to the essential needs of the gallery and also solve some really complex problems. Most importantly, HVAC in that enormous space. So with that, I think Jack is going to do a brief introduction, and then I'll.
Okay,
If of the 100 pages, well, you let me know. And
I mean,
yes.
I'm going to let you know right now. We're not talking about this past 7:05. It's not happening. We have to go through this thing. Bruce is here. I'm here. Susan, we know the building. We live the building. Bruce was born in the building. You have to like really make it concise and focus on what the commissioners are going to be
We have it.
hearing.
You forgot to introduce me as
Oh, what?
chair, but don't worry.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, I'm gonna try to make it as short as possible. Aaron is gonna run us through everything as soon as we possibly can. Is that fast enough? No, but seriously, thank you, everybody, for being here. I know you guys are volunteers, and it's an incredible service, and we believe in it immensely. On the screen playing is something we did a long time ago. It's in like rendering of sort of how it's gonna be, so you might wanna check that out. But the things I want to tell you first and foremost is that we have an exhibition of Richard Moss up right now before doing any of our build out. And I'm proud to say it's without any penetrations. We did the whole thing without making one hole in the space. So we understand that, but first, Carlos and I are very excited. Carlos Vega and I are very excited. As Aaron said, actually, it's 2.5 years that we've been working on this. So we're like, we've been through it. And like she said, she stole a lot of my stuff. We're on our second and consultant. We got it. There's no any ductwork, anything like that. There's some small miniatures. She put but that's a 1.5 years. And but first, not all of you probably are aware of my gallery. The Jack Shaman Gallery. I first opened in New York in the East Village in 1984 and spent a few years there. I was at 560 Broadway, which was above Dean and DeLuca, when they called that Lower Broadway, and that all happened. And then luckily I moved to Chelsea 10 years to the day to the space I'm in now. I've been there 26 years. And in 2015, 16, Carlos and I purchased a 35,000 square foot high school in Kinderhook, New York, and we transformed it into a gallery. And we used an architect, Antonio Torresia, who did the museum in Granada. And I don't want to brag, okay? But I don't know, maybe you've been there. I don't want to brag, but we did an amazing thing there, not only with the building, what Antonio brought, but it reinvigorated the community. You wouldn't have been able to get but iceberg lettuce and puffy bread when we opened, and now there's 4 world-class restaurants. There's 4 other galleries that have opened. In fact, the Shaker Museum up there has now opened a pop-up gallery right around the corner, so it's really exciting. In the spring, when we open, we get about 1,800 people, 2,000, and they shut us down, which is always a good way to end a party. I guess the artists that I work with make up, the gallery, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But many of the artists that I've working with now, I've worked with for close to the entire time I've been open. So I have long relationships with my artists, and part of the idea of doing this was to get a volume of space where you could present like really important shows. And what the gallery is about is realizing the dreams and the visions of artists. And that's what we do. And that's how we keep them with us. And so we felt after the school that we had a really, we could do this. But because we always say we started the school naively, happily naively or something. This was kind of the same. We didn't think so, but 2.5 years later, we're here. There were a lot of ups and downs and walking out and everything, but I have to tell you, we take this really, really seriously. But you have to understand, in terms of caring for something like the hall and for the executive offices now, we're in the business of caring for things. I work with clients that buy paintings from the 1400s, and I care for them and store them and humidify them. And so, we know what that means. So taking on this responsibility of the custodian of the hall is really an important thing. It's really a life dream. And so we're living the dream here. I appreciate you guys being here. No, but it's really true, because what happened is the space is not so good for a gallery. It seduced us to space. We went there. It was a wreck, but we saw what could be possible. And we saw the idea of preserving this history, but also we're open to the general public. 5 days a week, Tuesday through Saturday, no matter what, we are open 10 to 6. And we like for lots of people to come over. So besides people who are interested in art, people who are interested in architecture can come for free. There's no charge, and look all they want, as long as they want. So maybe they're going to see art too. And that's part of what we're interested in, juxtaposing that history with contemporary art. But you have to understand, there's absolutely no infrastructure in that building, in those rooms. There's no air conditioning, there's no heat, and there's no electric. She's gonna get to that, Erin. But we need to bring it up to the 21st century. And the most exciting part is the architecture, historic architecture that tells a story with contemporary art. And that's our dream, to be able to function in the thing. And I'm gonna let go of my extra minute so you can ask me questions at the end.
Aaron, your presentation just got shorter.
I
Right.
I can do this, no problem.
But seriously, I could answer any questions.
Thank you.
The complicated thing about this is that because it's all these interior landmark spaces, there aren't really rules at staff level. Like, almost nothing can happen at staff level within these spaces. So this is all commission purview, interestingly, but it's why we have 100 pages. Maybe I can point to some things and we can go from here.
Show us like how you really,
Would,
you know, yeah, just the parts where, the hardest parts, where
Okay,
you're doing the
yeah.
hardest work, because I think we all understand that
okay.
it's a humongous space. I don't want to speak for everybody, but it's obviously extremely complicated, but we couldn't, I mean, I couldn't have dreamed that someday after the whole thing of this building, that a gallery would come and take the place. It's the most amazing, that concept is amazing. So,
I can't think of a more public use of this space,
well, we
honestly.
don't want to talk about public-private. Let's talk about
But
how you.
it has to be public for it to be an
Right.
inferior designation, right? And so, so here, we'll just cruise through. Maybe kind of get smaller on the screen. We know where the building is, of course. It has 7 interior landmark spaces, and which makes it very complicated, and why it was complicated in 2014 at that time. Next slide. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Okay, ready to go. So here is the area under the control of the gallery. The main banking hall, the main floor, the mezzanine, and then the executive office spaces, which are currently 2 apartments now. They were originally 6 designated spaces. One, the dark space was de-designated as part of that 2014 project, and then the rest are privatized. Keep going, let's see. You know, the historic environment there. We have this marble runner that went through the space, divided by the teller screens, the office space, the original condition here, open and closed conditions throughout. The original vault is on the right side. It's coming. So the next one is from 1915. You'll see, oh, we skipped one. 1915, you'll see that we start to see the evolving use of the space. Lots of storage introduced. The desks were relocated. Is it just the file so big, maybe?
No,
No.
No, it lagged.
Okay. And at the, yeah, there's a monumental bronze sculpture. I think that foreshadows what we're doing today. It's in the 1915 photo. It's not on our screen. 1923, the introduction of the mezzanine. That was not an original feature. So that extended around. There you go. There's the monumental bronze. Yeah. And you can see the, oh, never mind.
what's happening here?
And it's jittery. The mezzanine was introduced, and the vault on the left was modified in order to receive the mezzanine at that time. And so that's the platform that becomes the mezzanine at the mezzanine level. And this is 1987. This is when it was designated. So the commission designated this. It really shows a lot of vision on their part, I think. Next slide. So here we have all of those conditions. At that time, when the city acquired the building in 1960s, took out all of those historic teller screens. We got lots of partitions, dropped fluorescent lighting, painted everything, vinyl floors, and up the mezzanine, lots of storage and meeting spaces. But you can see it was taking this really monumental, symbolic space that was meant to convey integrity and the permanence of the institution, and sort of turning it into literally the DMV. So here, that's the condition before the 2014 project. And here it is today. 2014, the building's converted for residential use. As part of that, comprehensive restoration of the banking hall took place. And that marble stair that we saw briefly was moved. That was the room that was de-designated as part of the 2014 project. They moved the stair from that room out into the main banking hall. So this provided a restored shell for the future adaptive reuse by a tenant. They did not provide any infrastructure for an actual use or a tenant at that time. It was just really envisioned as the most beautiful white box one could acquire, I think. And we see the vault on the left there. Next slide.
Okay, we have it also in our books. Okay. Great job.
So then we're moving up into the executive offices. This is the original spatial configuration of the committee room. This, again, was part of the private side space. We can see the original city conditions with the partitions and the lights, but again, the space was there. Next slide. And then the next slide is showing you what it looked like when the city moved out and the developer acquired it. And next slide is the existing condition, where they converted the community room into a corridor. So we're looking down at that bay window. These are the entries into the north and south apartments that you're seeing. All of this is new construction that's just been panelized to be consistent with the one historic door surround that was relocated. But that space is completely bifurcated now. Similar conditions, we can go through these pretty quickly.
So you recreated a lot of this paneling based on the, okay, a
Um,
lot of it,
mhm,
painting.
mhm.
Okay.
Yep, you've got it. Well, that's the condition under the Alad project.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, yeah.
To treat the whatever group was in there.
Mhm. And here's the existing condition in the northeast room, give you a sense of how they laid out those apartments. Next slide. Exterior, area of the gallery's control is highlighted here. So they have frontage on Lafayette. This is going to be the main entry for the gallery on the Lafayette side next to Catherine. And so Catherine is on our left here. Leonard is on our right, showing you that's the extent of the banking hall going up toward Broadway. Next slide. We also have one small bay on the Broadway frontage. And three bays on Catherine. So that'll be a sort of mini gallery. But really the importance of that space is to act as an anchor because the pedestrian traffic along Broadway is so much more significant. It's a way of bringing people down to the Lafayette entry. Next slide. That's it. Here's existing conditions, the three-story gallery, wall by wall. And next, we can go through these quickly. That's,
Yeah, we want it, I mean, I encourage everyone on the committee to thumb through this book too, because
It's fabulous.
it's really good, and I wanted, we couldn't even possibly cover every detail that's drawn here. I mean, we can in some sort of a resolution and put some discussion. But, is there any way to, I want to speak, I'm not rushing it on. Is there any way to pinpoint some in here, the most aggressive or covering of original fabric or uncontextual items?
none of it. None of
it's not.
But here we go. We'll jump into it. So maybe just go to the proposed plan.
Yeah.
I mean, the proposed elevations.
And then give us some of the sheet numbers and we'll.
Yeah.
It's 31 right now.
31.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 31 is the existing plan on the screen.
Okay.
And the important thing to note here, so the entire room is designated except for the interior of the vault. The important thing to note here are that along Catherine, which is really the back of the building, there are 3 louvers that have been installed in the windows there, and those windows have been sheetrock closed. So that condition has really directed the level of intervention that happens at the south side of the space. Next slide. And this is the next page is the proposed plan on the left. There you go. So you can see we've provided for the essential gallery functions along the south side of that space. These are all partitions and capitalizing on the fact that all 3 of those windows have already been blocked up, but also tapping into the mechanical because those louvers provide some relief for us there. And as you can see in plan, they're all tucked behind the level of the vault, and then allow each of the columns to be expressed. But also the greater benefit is that we're able to consolidate everything on that south side, the enclosures on that south side, and allow the rest of the room to be free and open for installations and the experience of being in the gallery.
I have a question, just because I'm following along pretty well here. These are fan coil units? That's how you're conditioning the space?
Yes,
Does everyone know what a fan coil looks like? Fan coil unit?
there's a photo. We're
Is
gonna-
that generally appropriate, don't we think? It's a big space, this little fan coil unit?
There are 6. We have 3 on the north and 3 on the south. We have some workstations, an enclosed viewing area on the the vault, that's number 19. And then we're proposing a new connection, a new doorway from the mezzanine to the executive offices. There's currently no connection. It's very important. We need large openings in order to pass art through the spaces. And since these will be public galleries, there needs to be a connection at this level. So we'll look at that. That's probably one of the more
Number
impactful.
16?
16, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll look at 16.
Okay. Move more quickly. Fourth wall is desks, fan coil units. We see the proposed rendering on the right, really minimal level of intervention here, and some shades, motorized shades along the lower level of the mezzanine. Next slide.
What do people think about these lights? These lights, are they appropriate, guys? You're gonna be asked to say, are the lights too much or too frequent or?
I will tell you that each of one of those is on a workstation. They're felt and they're slick, they're fun.
Okay.
Right?
Just
Okay.
like some.
Sound dampening too.
Okay.
They're soundproof.
Yeah. So.
Here you go. This is the typical shade pocket detail. We have to relocate some moldings, but we'll look at that in an RCP. It's more relevant. Translucent vinyl film comes for all of the windows there. Here's the desk. Since we have a non-historic concrete floor, we can trench all of our heating and cooling lines and electrical conduit all through the floor, which you can see they've already done in part there for sprinklers and things. So everything will be directed to the units themselves, and we don't need to have exposed conduit or any penetrations through historic fabric. And these workstations are custom designed, glass and steel attached at the floor. No, not attached to the marble. Similar, here's the fan coil unit, very slim profile, finished to blend in with the pier. There'll be 3 of these in front of each of the piers along the north mezzanine and sort of tucked against the wall.
What other heating or cooling options were considered?
Can I,
Yeah.
like everything
Everything.
you could think of,
Yeah.
we went through 2 MEP companies because we were trying to do something that the first one was like, you have to run vents to the space. The only way to do it is with, big tubes.
Yeah.
We got to this because we didn't want big tubes. There was nowhere, vents, what do you call them?
Ducts.
Ductwork.
And you looked at mini splits too, but we were on the
We
wall.
looked at everything
Terrible. This
possible.
is good. This is the best part.
We
I
thought
love
about
this.
mini splits to try to accommodate on the
Right.
existing grid, but we could not service them because you talk about putting them, you had to service, you had to change filter, and it was impossible.
May I mention that it's not only the 6 fan coil unit, we also have 4 units, but in each one of the corners on the ground level, that is also provided for the
Right.
space.
Those
We'll
look
do that.
ones that look like walls.
These are
Yes.
just attached in the non-landmarked floor too,
Yeah.
so that's the beauty of it.
Okay.
Right, how about number 16?
Oh, yeah, here we go, this wall.
16.
16 was this point on the back.
We have
Okay.
2 glazed office spaces within. They're sort of a play on those early compartmentalized spaces in the New York Life installation. Enlarged openings at the ground floor, and then the door is do you see the 2 oculi up at the top, the 2 round windows?
Yeah.
So one of those, the one on the right, is where we're talking about that proposed door. So we'll move.
So these are like pods, 1, 2?
Yeah, there's 4 total. And maybe we'll go to the next slide. You'll see, oh, this is the enlarged door. We're removing non-historic wood infill, keeping the marble surround, and this is the opening to the new lobby.
When's
So,
the wood infill from?
the 2014 project.
Oh, that was only put in 2014?
It was replicating historic fabric, yeah,
Oh,
but it's not the same detail.
like one of these mistakes or something,
Yeah.
mistakenly replicated I mean,
Um,
what does anybody else have to say about it?
Outstanding is what
What's
this,
outstanding?
this project.
Oh, you love it, right. Okay.
As an architect,
So keep going.
it's outstanding,
Okay.
yes.
Can I ask?
As a bald man, I like.
White here instead of black?
on the handrail? was
Yeah,
that-
I'm just curious.
Let me touch that. So can we go back one slide? So the relocated stair, when it was in its original location, it was embedded in the wall. There was no secondary stair on that, secondary rail. So this new rail is all new. That's all new, entirely new. So the entire palette for the gallery is white. So the proposal is to paint that new rail, not the bronze rail that exists on the
Right.
front of it, it's ornamental, but just that one white. And that is a consistent palette throughout the space.
I also like that.
Well,
But not original,
Right.
so it works.
I have, and black competes with the bronze and the white just blends it.
The screen before, you were, the 5 and 6 you were doing on proposed, I don't see it on your,
Numbers 5 and 6, what are those?
the
What
door opening,
what are the scopes?
the 39, it was the door, the 5 and the 6.
Hey,
the
she
one
just-
that
okay.
goes with the wall.
This is the door.
And the maximized door?
Yes, so
Yes.
this is one of them. And this would remain open to the gallery out of the lobby beyond. And so we're keeping the marble, removing the non-historic wood infill within that opening.
Okay, so,
And then the next one is where we're locating a door. Right. So it's same situation, removing the wood. And again, this is for loading large items through the spaces. And then the flat panel white door, it's going to be recessed slightly from the face of the marble to get that shadow line. And then concealed hinges. And that gives access to back of house spaces for the gallery.
okay, just on this thing, it doesn't show up on this rendering or whatever. I don't see it, but anyway.
Wait, which?
Yeah, and up there and check, double check it. I see it, it does. It's
It
my-
does?
oh, Look,
There's one of the.
when we zoom, I see it on the screen clearly.
I don't
It's just
see it
such
either.
a,
I don't see 5, 6, that's on.
if you
Yeah.
look at existing on the left, it's got some,
There.
no door, and then it has a
Right. so
white
this-
thing.
so
Which
this
you
is-
can't
Oh,
tell.
that's not, oh, okay. Oh, that's this.
That is
Okay, I got it.
In the scale of that picture, it does not, it's not so
Gotcha.
disturbing.
No.
So
I thought it
I,
was a door.
you know.
Okay, got it. Thank you. No.
How about some other pumps?
Yeah,
How
let's go
about some other
let's
parts?
go up to up to the
More
wall.
pods.
Here, this is a display wall. So
Okay.
a lot of what we're seeing here, all of these partitions, they all have multi-use. There's display on one side, and then it encloses space. So they've been very creative about limiting and not having to duplicate things because they can serve both purposes. This is a display wall, and there's mechanical coming from the undesignated space behind, and you can see the HVAC supply and return. That's going to be, so those are penetrations in the marble. They'll be carefully done. And you can see in the top right, that's actually replacement marble too from the recent project. So we're coming up with sort of non-historic marble there. And then there's going to be 2 points of attachment for this wall. There's only 2 walls that attach to the marble, and that is one of them. It has a reveal at the bottom that provides for the return. And then supply goes up over it, and then there's that reveal along the sill, so it's all
Like a
detailed.
floating,
Exactly.
side exhaust and return,
Mhm.
whatever.
And so the mechanicals go
Okay.
through marble?
It's all reversible,
Yes,
right?
it's coming all reversible.
Oh, okay. Wait, write that down.
Yeah, we have, in this, we have 2 attachments of marble and 2 penetrations for the mechanical through that marble piece. And the one is the non-historic section of the lower portion of the wall.
I mean, you do have to make the space
You do.
usable and livable.
Any use would have made it.
Not just for the
Yes.
staff
Yeah.
and visitors. I mean, we need heating.
Yeah.
and cooling.
Yeah.
Okay, more,
At least this century.
42.
This side.
Let's get ourselves to like the 60 zone.
Okay. let's go.
It goes all the way up to 110.
Let's just show you the pod really quickly. These are amazing. They're prefab metal and glass. They're smart glass. So you'll be able to see in average conditions, you'll be able to see all the architecture through it. And when they need privacy, they're able to zap it and make it obscure. The ceiling is a louver system, so it shares all of the climate of the gallery itself. It doesn't need separate services in that way. And then you can close it for privacy as well. It does not attach to the marble. Everything attaches to the floor. The sides are painted white metal, the frame is, and then it's the glass in the front. There's no back. It's open to the architecture beyond. And you can see in the elevation, it sort of tops out right below the Capitol. So very, very well detailed to really align with the architecture. Next slide.
And the floor that it's mounted into is not?
No, it's all concrete. It's, yeah. Mhm. Another one of these, yep, there. And then, okay, here, this is the door. So this is the proposed connection to the executive offices. The intent here is to create a blind opening within the marble itself, there's, Jack has allocated a location within the building, for salvage materials. Our proposal is to remove because the marble's so heavy, to remove the marble, create a new lightweight door out of aluminum, fiberglass base, and then faux painted to match all of the surrounding marble, so it'll be seamless. It has concealed hinges, it won't be legible from the mezzanine. This strategy was part of the approval from 2014, where they had the vault doors, and they were proposing to remove the vault doors and replace them with like some lightweight thing. We're keeping the vault doors, and we're going to salvage all the material. So if anyone ever wanted to reverse it, it goes right back the way it was. On the interior, in the encapsulated apartments,
It's like the champagne. Is this the champagne room? I just know what's going on.
but in the, and so you can see the oculus is blocked because there's sheetrock behind it, right? It's encapsulated. So, and this is what exists within the encapsulated wall. That'll be reestablished on the interior and the back side of the door. So that's that one.
Okay, that's one little intervention, you could say, one little intervention.
When we talk about the vault doors, is, you covered them, right?
No, not yet.
We're gonna go
We haven't got that. We're on the, getting to the south wall now.
Okay.
Here we go. So
South wall.
south wall, here's the overall proposal, reception desk, all those enclosures that we talked about, and
Yeah.
the way that they're detailed are there. This is the gallery viewing room. This is where clients, the gallery will meet with clients to show art, and it'll be a sort of small conference area, and that is atop the existing vault. So we'll go into the details of that. Reception desk on wheels, only attachment is power through the floor, which is all in the strip wood flooring, not in the special finishes. Next slide. Okay, so in order to accommodate this new enclosure, we'll need to remove a portion of that 1920s railing from the mezzanine. That will be removed and salvaged as proposed by Jack, and they have allocated the space, and of course are good stewards of all art, so that is all going to be safely stowed. The front wall that we're seeing here of the vault, the enclosure is set back a little over a foot. So you're going to get this really nice shadow line between the cornice of the vault and the wall beyond. So you're going to read the entire historic massing of the vault itself.
So this was one of the very small handful of things in this, I'm looking at it before today, that I did not
That you did not love?
love. I did not love.
Okay.
Oh, the railing removal.
The railing and the covering of the vault doors with drywall, right?
Right. Well,
So please point that out.
Yes,
I'm getting this stuff.
we're going to see it on, let's go to the next slide because.
Oh, I
that's
see,
been
it's in the
rendered.
back there.
You wanna talk
The
which
back,
one?
that's my
Installation, so.
Yes, right. So this is what he's talking about is this, the vault door is hatched in here. So this is a wall that'll come up on the east face of the vault and then extend up and create the side to this. We're seeing it right here in that. But if we flip, let's see, this is the, oh wait, I'm sorry.
No, that's a vault.
This
box is a vault.
Mhm.
Right.
This is the vault. This is the existing condition. Oh, and so here, this is the plan. Here's the walls. Here are the walls that we're talking about. This is the one that's set back about a foot. This is the side wall that you're very concerned about. And then we have two little partitions that we need to. But let's go.
And is the one on the right covered as well, or?
The one on the right is not covered. It's exposed
Okay.
on the west face. So, oh, that one. No, that one's within an enclosure. There are two on the east face. Mhm. And that'll be within an enclosure, and that's potential program space. So there's possibility that they're going to have art-related events or exhibits within the vault.
How big is this space?
2,500 square feet.
300 square feet?
300. And Walter, how thick is the
So you're
wall?
gonna have like 4 people in there?
No, we were thinking maybe like.
But how many sheets of steel is it? It's so
There,
It's only 300 square feet.
He's making him get more than.
Okay,
Okay, so we're gonna,
show us a picture
I'm
of the
sorry.
door that's being
this is
covered.
it, that.
There it is.
The door.
Well,
Try to-
Well, this is, so if I could just explain
That's
that
the
this is the reception desk, this is sort of
Right.
the primary entry, and then this is the full height wall that's proposed here. So it's really the focal point when you enter the gallery.
Okay.
And we are leaving, yes, everything is a special finish and there is a need for walls. But the doors are exposed on the other side of the space itself.
Okay,
Um,
keep going.
And you get to
Yeah.
read, because it's set back from the corner, so here, again, being able to read the massing wrapping the corner.
So what is?
Yep.
We understand
The
that.
material, is it all sheet rock?
No, no,
Uh,
go back, yeah, this, the addition.
That's the sheet rock.
It's all sheet rock,
Mhm.
light sheet rock, like a gallery, say like an art gallery.
Yeah,
And here on the top floor, right, you access it from
The side,
there,
from the mezzanine, yes.
from the mezzanine,
Mhm.
and that's just a private office?
Yes. Not an office, it's a viewing area with clients to view art, because obviously they're showing art and they're selling art. And so it's basically a viewing room with clients.
Down below.
No.
That's a private viewing room that needs wall space to hang art, to show its lines.
Right,
okay.
okay. Any-
So I'm just gonna say, I still don't like it. I mean,
Okay, fair, good, that's fair, we're gonna come around with the dislikes at the end.
Yeah.
Just very quickly, just to show you how carefully they're doing this, attaching it to the floor of the ceiling, but not at the marble, it cantilevers over, and then it's scribed to meet the line, the profile of the marble, so real surgical precision here.
That's reversible, that's all reversible stuff.
Okay, got it. Here's our petitions up at this is the enclosing walls for the viewing room. And I think existing is on the top, proposed, we're gonna meet the mullion in this arched window. This is on Catherine Lane, of course, the sort of back of the building. The detail's really great. It's a standoff, so you get the sort of thin profile right at the moment, and you don't have the full thickness of abutting the window. And that door is shown in it's a sliding door in the open, closed position. Open. More van foil units, same strategy, but in the window niches instead of at the pier line. Sculpture niche, this is a display niche. This is the easternmost window on the mezzanine up on the south side. Proposals to install a wall behind the arch, between the window and the arch, and it's set behind the marble panel so that it doesn't obscure the architecture or the reading of the ornamental metalwork. And you can see, this is the window we're talking about, so it's very limited and very limited
Yeah,
ability.
on the breadth of the building, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, let's keep going.
Yep, we are almost in the.
Middle.
Yes, we're
That's
57.
fall. So this is more display, a lot of what we've already talked about, a couple of doors and some mechanical. So we're gonna, existing, proposed. We'll look at each one of those really quickly. This amazing floating wall stands only attached at the non-historic concrete and the floor, 3 of the columns, and has a really nice reveal at the bottom with light coming through, and so it looks like it's floating within that space.
Are you gonna shine up those floors? Or are they saying dusty or, I mean, it's dusty?
Not dusty, but
No, there's floor, no. that's
We're
not going-
gonna stay in the light gray.
Okay, great, yeah, you're bringing it back,
Yeah.
wonderful.
And then, so this is another one of those multifunctional spaces. The space under the stair used to be a bathroom. That was taken out as part of the project, had a concrete floor, dissolved into a floor. They need a scissor lift. It's a monumental space. They need to change light bulbs and install art. Scissor lift.
That's the storage, I saw that. That's fine.
That's right there.
That's-
And then it has a function of,
That's gonna be behind this.
it's gonna be behind this partition, yes. And then you have a partition in front of it that's for display. A similar strategy in the corner, we have a display wall. The HVAC is coming from Catherine, and we have a reveal at the top of the wall, a diffuser that'll condition the space from the south side. The existing doors, this is to the lobby, 108 Leonard. That's a designated space too. The door and the sheetrock infill is all from the current project, the 2015 project. We would like to install full height doors rather than having, there's a sheetrock surrounding here. So, and it'll be the same design on both sides since we're facing designated spaces on both sides. One small door over here,
Who controls that other space?
that's the condo.
These offices.
Another office here. So there's 4 in total. And banking hall ceiling, okay, great, need light. For any use. And so the gallery has some specific needs. This ceiling was restored as part of the project. It had partially collapsed during construction. So it is magnificent. Can we go back to the photo? I just want to point out that the general construct of it is the coffers that are framed by this flat plaster grid. So the goal here is to stay within the flat plaster. So here's the lighting system. The red lines are for the surface mounted track light. That is for exhibits. It'll be directional, flexible. They can add and change the lights as they need them based on the exhibits and the installations. The green strips are surface mounted linear light fixtures. That's for house lighting, general ambient lighting. And then there are pendants proposed at the center of each coffer. This is flat plaster as well. That will hang there. Everything will be finished to match the ceiling palette, which we know from the colors from the restoration. Existing on the top, proposed on the bottom, so you can see very, very light touch there. The surface of the lights are all on the bottom right. And here's the overall ceiling as it is.
Okay,
Okay, so those are what's the diameter on these guys, kind of roughly? Well, they look,
It's maybe go to the section.
The square ones are like the size of this boat.
square, I see.
Look
them.
Rectangular, you see the.
Oh, I'm seeing now, okay.
And this is the track. House lighting is here.
Wow.
Track lighting is here for the exhibits.
That's very cool.
That's-
But it all fits great.
What's the finish on that? Is it like bronze?
Same color, but you have to understand that the light had to travel 30 feet to the arm.
That's a scissor lift thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's all finished.
I'm
I'm with it.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
I think the next thing we're gonna talk about is the anchor system in the ceiling, is that right?
Yeah.
So in order to provide for flexible installations in the future, there's a system that's been devised of permanent anchors within the ceiling. They'll attach to the girders that can support hanging. They can tie together with structural members that provide for additional hanging or supporting walls. On the left, we see the existing condition. We're going to go into these square sections of plaster. They are decorative, but we can document that. And again, it's plaster. It's very easily repaired and replicated. And here's the proposed. So these very minimal rods, that would be the source of attachment. So that they can basically construct anything they need to through these points of attachment and then hanging the rods, the structural members from that. And you can see here, it's just tying up into the underlying girder in the ceiling.
Will you stop there?
Yeah.
That's the lighting again, right?
No, this is the rod system for.
Yep.
Rods for the lighting.
Yeah.
No, very-
Rods for lighting. Sure.
Yeah.
Like you want to hang a car, a sculpture
Yes.
comes in,
Yes.
has the biggest car hanging from the ceiling.
What has to tangle them? What has
In a way, we are creating something, we are going against the wind. We are creating something that
We
is
got
not
it.
a
Cutting
white
edge, cutting
We
edge.
wanna
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
reinvent how contemporary art can deal with the tempo.
Can be shown.
And I think the,
Nice.
the installations are meant to be artistic too. So they're going to be responsive to whatever exhibit it is at that, whatever display is coming in that
And
time.
there's no way to achieve this in the flat plaster?
Not those, because they have to tie into the girder.
And that's based on where it is.
Is
center
ceiling,
line.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so here, this is that modest change. When we were talking about the shades, just to tell you what we're doing there, in order to accommodate the shade pocket and some of the partitions, we need to slide the molding in the plaster ceiling under the mezzanine about between 6 and 8 inches. And so what this does is, I mean, it looks fantastic, a really minimal change, but allows it to read as a complete panel rather than cutting into the molding. And again, all of this has been replaced as part of the restoration. Plaster is very easy and can be a sacrificial material in a lot of ways. So here's the overall condition, and I would just show you number 3 is an example of what happens when you don't realign a molding. So that's an existing partition that just sort of cuts right into it, and that's what we're trying to avoid. And they maintain all of the same proportions, and I think it's really.
Sorry, I have a question on the rods. So how are you capturing the existing conditions before you? make that intervention?
There'll be a documented drawing for
Got it.
for that panel.
So it can be reproduced.
Reproduced, yes. Mhm. And then, some lights under the ceiling of the mezzanine, track lighting, on, for display walls on the west side, and then linear, suspended linear fixtures on, the perimeter space. Let's look at that rendering, which is,
I promise I'm.
okay. So here, existing is on the top, proposed on the bottom. You can see this is a very minimal, thin beam of light that really just carries you through the space. It's really beautiful. And then the track lighting on the right for the display walls.
Yeah.
Banking hall floor, we have that marble runner through the middle of the space. The gray area is concrete. That is later material, not at all touches or, historic. And then it's a strip of floor everywhere else. And so that was, really a utilitarian finish, not, was covered, as you saw in that historic photograph. The runner was the primary element in the space.
So what would it take to return the stain to the way it was?
We don't know what the stain was.
No, I'm saying, if you turn it to gray and let's just say.
Oh, how to
vacate
reverse
the
that?
space At some point, how do you return it?
Sand,
I
yeah.
need to refinish it. That floor is not original, right?
It is, I think it is original,
Original,
but it's,
originals, Kim Eden white.
I don't know about that.
That's wrong, I don't think so.
It might be.
At least 30%
That-
was replaced in
yeah.
the past 8 months.
And it's
It also runs in different directions.
directions. There's all different pieces. It's been patched. It's not in great condition.
Which, the wood or the concrete?
The wood, concrete either, but on wood.
The wood
wood.
is,
But in
it's-
order to
it's-
get rid of
it's-
the gray, all you'd have to do is
Sand it
sand
down.
and polyurethane.
yeah, not to worry, yeah.
Okay, okay, let's see the exterior work. I see
Okay.
some exterior work, and we have to cover that in 10 minutes.
Oh, this is the flooring up on the mez.
Yeah.
Let's go to the exterior. Exterior. Skip to the exterior.
Yes, keep going, keep going. Indication of budget.
Just a quick look at this, because this is a great give back for the overall project. This is, what is happening now. You walk into the space, you go into one apartment, you go into the other apartment. These rooms have been compartmentalized. This is cut in. The yellow is showing you the historic walls. The gray is all the built.
So they were opening
Opening
it,
it
yeah.
up, right? So this committee room that we looked at earlier, completely opening it up. These small enclosures are going to enclose existing mechanical, because this space was climatized. So holding on to that. And then here's our new door. The Oculus will be restored there. And then, all of these compartments, this spatial organizations will be taken out. But in this space, we're going to have new protective walls here. And this is really important for, gallery, exhibit space. We're proposing to extend that partition across the window opening in this location. And that's about 4 feet off of the window. So it's almost the size of a room, but, so it's very deeply recessed and we don't think it'll have a significant effect on the exterior. So that's where we are. Here's this incredible, elevation. So now this will all be united again, like it was historically, the executive office, the committee room, and then the other executive office to the north. So looking both directions here. Oh, and new floors, I'm sorry, concrete on the floor currently. And so all throughout the spaces, new beige tile 4x4 that we here. Just being a proposed rendering of that room, that #1 room here. RCPs. Staying, yeah,
So let's go to
There
the
you go.
exterior.
that's what it was. Here are our conditions on the exterior. You have, this is Lafayette, Catherine is here, Catherine, details showing you, these are the louvers. And then in elevation, the area of the gallery is highlighted in blue. Pink is the designated interior spaces. But really, this is just giving you a sense of what they control. And this is a lot of information, but the takeaway is that on the interior, this is all interior, in fact, but on the interior, there's going to be a light strip at each of the window sills. And then there are different conditions within the windows, a combination of film, shades, And the goal here is to have a unified exterior appearance of, with the lit windows. And so the important ones for you are the ones that are indicated with E, which are the windows that have partitions in front of them. Everyone except this one will be set back with the thickness of the wall, so it's going to have a recess, and it's still going to have the light within the opening and the film that all the other windows have. So it'll be a completely uniform appearance there. B is a little bit different because that's the sculpture niche, and that's a little bit closer to the window, but will also have the light box in it. So that's that. Next. Here are some details of that. E is good because you get to see the depth of the wall behind the window, really quite substantial. We are so close to the end.
Yeah, it's a nice picture.
2 more pages.
15 seconds ago.
I know.
Yes, you guys are amazing.
This is outstanding.
Trust me, right?
I trust you the whole time.
Like these area doors.
He just looks trustworthy.
Yeah, I do.
So here, three interventions on the exterior,
Yeah.
a window and 2 doors. We're going around. Windows. This is flanked by 2 louvers. We have existing casement windows here that were placed under the project. The proposal is to match this window, but just make it fully operable. So it's going to have two casement windows that'll open entirely, and we can get a very close dimensional match to that.
They were working the same manufacturer.
Same manufacturer, the windows, and it'll have same finish, so that's that. That's for loading. Next slide. Okay, doors. So we have a door on Broadway and a door on Lafayette. Proposal here is 2 operable sections, an operable transom, operable door. They're going to act as almost like a Dutch door so that it can, for loading of large items, you can swing the whole thing out and then it can separate. And most days it'll just be the lower section. You'll see it has a sort of fine profile. And in this photo, you can see that we have a window at the other side. And so in an effort to create a sort of a symmetrical composition, this is sort of taking on the appearance of the windows rather than the door, which was part of that 2014 proposal. So I think that that's going to marry up nicely. Same thing happens here. That's the same concept in terms of the door, and we see the windows in the bays on Lafayette. So that's that. And then we have some signage, which is incredible and discreet. And it's a surprise. Polished, not polished, brushed stainless sleeves that will, one on each facade, one at Lafayette, one at Broadway. It's going to slide over the marble unit and fully occupy that one single unit rather than having something attached to the face of it. So it's a compression fit with set screws, and it'll have a laser cut branding on the sign itself. That's it. Future exhibit.
How high is that?
Can I,
How high is the sign? It looks-
Oh.
it's one module.
Is that happening at 4 feet?
Like we are all
Yeah.
afraid is it?
Yeah, right now it's a little.
You don't think they got that wrong, do you?
Okay.
Jason?
Price wants a limited debate.
No, I don't. In fact, there are landmark savvy community members.
Well, we'll have to get everybody in.
I just wanted to say very quickly that I've studied this in great depth and not just recently. And I've never seen a conservator of a space like this, like that. We could have gotten Gagosian to design, hire Annabelle Seldorf to do a white box. Instead, we got this. And I just want to point out historically, because as you said, I know this building, I was born when this building was built. It's artist space, Franklin Furnace, Art in General, and Elena Hayes is a clock tower gallery that established the art community in Tribeca. Most of it is gone. As you know, we went all the way to the Court of Appeals and lost the ability to keep as a public space the clock tower. So it's been privatized and is part of a $30 million, $40 million penthouse.
Yeah.
So now we have a great gallerist who just did an unbelievable job. And so it brings back to Tribeca what we lost essentially, especially in that building. And I propose that we approve it as designed rather than pulling it apart.
Oh,
I'm done.
absolutely.
You add, I second that.
But
I-
we can't make any other
I think
comments?
there's some discussion.
Thank
No,
you.
may not.
Sorry.
I think there's
It
some
out.
discussion.
But,
No, I
but
didn't.
I wanted to, say, regardless of the presentation and the treatment, that, part of the give back to the community was supposed to be a media center for the youth. And that part, and Johnny from DCTV, you all know where DCTV is.
Yeah.
Johnny was supposed to be, he was actually online. Part of that, he was supposed to be the steward of that space.
That's right.
So the community was supposed to have a media center. And it was supposed to be in this exact space, which the gallery is now,
It
taking.
was my understanding it's below this space.
And
not
they
this-
shafted them down below,
Oh.
subterranean. So, yes, and that's the history. So in that sense, I know he put a comment in there. I just want to say that I think that is not right. And, yeah, this is a beautiful gallery and they're gonna treat the space in a certain way, but the sacrifice again is a youth media center that was supposed to be the benefit for the community and it is now being shafted down below. So.
Yep, I remember that, I was here, these original things, and I want to come back to that after we see other questions or things on here, and then let the people speak that are here. And then we'll wrap it up again after.
Jason,
Yeah.
we just have the future installations, if we just touch on
Yeah,
this.
give us the.
Okay, so this is gonna be the master plan that'll provide for the future for the gallery, so they have flexibility. We talked about the points of attachment in the ceiling, so that is these. Next slide is the similar points of attachment in the floor. They'll be all penetrated through the strip wood flooring. And again, it gives them the flexibility for installing walls as needed. And so the installations will last, a typical installation is between 3 and 4 months, or an exhibit, and they may go to 6 months. And so we're trying to find a flexible way, so Landmarks isn't having to write permits every 3 weeks for the space. And the gallery doesn't have to go through things. So we have that infrastructure built in. And so next slide, we have 2 tiers of installations. So these installations would require no permitting. So anything that uses the existing system that's integrated in, so the anchors and attachments, or anything that uses non-invasive attachment means, magnets, zip ties. This is how the whole exhibit that's there currently is attached. And then here are some examples of how that would work. So this is using the hanging structure for the artwork, and these are walls that are anchored to the floor and from the ceiling as well. And then tier 2. So these are large-scale architectural installations. So we've defined large scale as anything that would volumetrically occupy the full height for more than half of the space. And so anything that is going to be a large-scale installation would require review by LPC staff. Also, anything that penetrates significant finishes. And so it gives Landmarks an oversight and a sort of term for review on the future installations. And then there is an opportunity based on this, and this is modeled on the delivery rules that Landmarks applies. There's an opportunity that if they install a large scale installation and they want to use it for the next exhibit, that they can just simply be in contact with Landmarks and have that provision extended for them. So that's it.
Okay, I'm gonna say, my general feeling about it is that now I feel good about the person that seems to be wanting to preserve this space, and I was in that space when the city owned it, and whatever the hell it was like a court or something. And then I was around when they made some rules that obviously were not completely comprehensive enough. And you guys jump in, you pick up the pieces. It's a big project, I think, and then we'll get to the thing about public-private space and missed opportunities. Can we get going to the public and then wrap it up? Who from the public is here? Announce yourself and say, well,
Stand here.
you don't have to stand, you can do whatever you want, just speak loudly, and say who you're here to represent.
You can just give
Good evening, my name is Sarah Bartlett, and I'm attending the meeting tonight to voice my support for the work that Jack Shaman is proposing to do at the building where I now reside. which is 108 Leonard. My interest in supporting the proposal stems from my 41 years as a Tribeca resident and as someone with a deep appreciation of this neighborhood's historic building. As some of you may know, my late husband, John Petrarca, was a prominent architect in Tribeca who chaired this community board's committee for many years along with his son. He and I moved to Tribeca in 1982 to begin renovating the tiny triangular building on the Greenwich Street. And I later bought and renovated one of the historic Dudley townhouses on Harrison. When it came time for me to downsize, there was no building I wanted to live in more than 108 Leonard. The majestic architecture of the marble stairs that bear the indentation of thousands of steps taken before mine. The soaring ceilings, the arched windows, these feats of design inspire me every day. I believe that our neighborhood and our building are incredibly fortunate to have attracted someone with the reputation and integrity of Jack Shaman to finish the renovation of the bank hall and increase public access to this historic treasure. From what I can tell of his proposed plans, he intends to go above and beyond what LPC has already approved to preserve historic details that make this building so unique. I can attest that other Leonard Street residents have expressed their delight on our WhatsApp group chat that a prominent gallery owner, known for being highly principled and responsible, has agreed to become the commercial anchor of this building. His recent decision to offer residents a private reception to celebrate the pop-up opening of the gallery struck me as an indication of his commitment to being a good, constructive neighbor. Lest anyone wonder, I'm here strictly on my own recognizance. I have not asked for, nor would I accept anything in exchange for voicing my support. I'm merely here to say that I'm impressed by the vision that Shaman has expressed publicly for his new gallery space and the extent to which he's willing to go financially to actualize it. I hope that his level of determination deserves support, and I hope that you will concur.
Anything that I learned about landmarking came from John Petrarca, who preceded me as chair of this committee and who I miss dearly. So say that.
Okay.
Okay, so anyone else here to speak? There's someone online to speak? Who's that? 18.
One in the room.
Oh, okay, let's do the move.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm an art gallery broker and.
Anybody
I,
call me?
Not yet.
Not sure, John. Let the young lady go first.
Okay,
I'll be brief.
thank you.
And I represented the gallery on this acquisition. I'm extraordinarily impressed with their process and their consideration for this space, which I don't know of any other gallery that would have considered this space. Their approach is so interesting to me and so novel, and I think it's groundbreaking. Their consideration of the space through the lens of its history. They're very interested in presenting art in a way that engages history and the architecture, the historic architecture. This is so different, and this is why they were so bold in, deciding to, put their life savings into acquiring a space that has a lot of challenges, for walls, gallery walls, and access. And I think that the impact is going to be tremendous, not only on the neighborhood, but I hope that it will also inspire art galleries, more art galleries, to not be so insular, but to dare take on historic spaces and landmark spaces. It's beautiful. It adds something new and fresh to the New York art scene, and I congratulate them. I think they're really fantastic.
Yeah, it's very inspiring to see this happening. Yeah. Who else online? John, is that someone, John? Okay.
Yes, hello,
Hi,
Hey, John.
how are you?
that's a big question.
So,
Want to say something?
I apologize, it's quite noisy where I am. I'm trying to go to some place that's quiet. And it's nice that we have people who want to build galleries in our neighborhood. I'm just reminding the community board of the history of that space, probably through no fault of these nice art gallery people. That space was supposed to be the public media center that was promised to Community Board 1. when that building was sold. When I look at those nice pictures of the level floor and the beautiful entrance, I feel sad for the community and sad for the board because this space was taken away and kept by the developer for their own personal profit instead of for the community's use. And unfortunately, at every turn where this developer had to choose between keeping their promises to the community about the clock tower, about the banking vault, or about the community media center, they chose their own profits over this. And with all due respect to these nice gallery people, there is certainly the possibility that they're being used as a Trojan horse to get certain changes that the developer might want. And then we'd see the developer figure out another way to make more money at the community's expense. Hope none of this is the case.
You're not
And I
wrong.
hope that we'll be nice neighbors with these people, but the track record here is pretty scary.
I can't dispute all that in some ways. And you know what? We're gonna regroup on those issues, I think, as a fuller board. Tonight, let's just tackle like the new guys and that they're trying to do something I think is good. Everyone else can agree or disagree. And let's call the question. Agree or disagree?
Jared has-
And let's call the question.
Jared has-
I just want to go back to it, just because, and I feel almost badly saying it, because, it's obviously so thoughtfully done and so much effort and money and blood, sweat and tears put into this. There's no question about it. I don't love covering up the vault doors with drywall. I just don't.
Okay, I'm gonna say, we do this something, maybe you guys could, you put so much into this, right? Maybe there's some other.
Can I
Yep,
still
yep,
talk
yep,
about it?
yeah.
If you go online,
Okay.
you can read articles dating back years and years about all the vaults all over the country that are big white elephants. The vault up at the Empire State Building had to be totally hermetically sealed because there is possibly arsenic in it. A lot of the vaults have other problems, not only the weight, but it's not such an amazing like architectural thing. Do you know what I mean? And we're gonna show around the side, the door. It's okay, it's not that special.
Maybe you
I'm
guys will
sorry.
take a field trip there.
But we are gonna be showing, one door will remain totally shown. There happen to
I
be
would
3
not-
compartments in the vault, that's why there's 3
not?
doors. But it's really, the first thing you look at when you come in. And to tell you the truth, having a gallery in an old bank, the first conversation is not about the vault that we wanna have. So we decided we would show the vault door around the corner. There are 3 identical doors. So do you have to see all 3 or can you see one?
Not only are they identical, but they are, with no disrespect, they're mundane. They're not elaborate.
Okay.
I mean, you guys,
Jared
first
doesn't
of
like
all, I
it.
would love for
Jared doesn't
everybody.
like
Let's see how Jared votes. He's gonna keep us suspended, so we're.
I want to speak, no, but it's been very considered. There,
I
like white elephants. I want to speak just briefly
Bruce wants
to the community, to the fine, I mean, I love you, they have great history in downtown too, they were pioneers.
Yeah.
And I'm, as you know, seriously, all for the redistribution of wealth. But I do want to say that there is no linkage between Jack Shaman Gallery and LAB, on the contrary, quite on the contrary. It's LAB that I won't go into. But I do think in this issue, if we don't do this, we're gonna lose an opportunity that
What does
will
that
not,
say about us?
will not come again.
Yeah, I don't think that represents the community to fire down this
Right.
thing.
No,
They're
no.
not,
I
they're
don't.
not here to accept us. We're always here. No one else comes. But
can I say one thing?
yes, one more thing.
We
One
never
more.
heard about this until right now.
Yeah.
Like the community center was always this space, it's a ground floor space. It takes up almost the whole length of the well, no, half of the building. And until now, I never heard about that. I always understood they were gonna be downstairs.
And it's.
The other day, I heard the reason why they're not in yet is because the city is just slow to put them in. like the space has been empty for, like renovated for them and empty for, and we did not know anything about that until right now.
No, I know.
We're gonna review on it, we have to do it.
Not like that.
Besides,
This is
No,
different,
no, no,
it's
no.
okay.
No,
No,
we
no,
understand.
To be clear, they bought the space. It's not, they're not tenants in the.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, someone did allude to the fact that like there may be some other changes after
Yeah,
because,
no,
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 but they bought owning this
They
thing.
own it.
That's-
That's different.
The bank
That's-
called it
Alright.
up to
In
apartments.
fact, they're opening up space that the developer compartmentalized for
Right,
apartments
we
that
know.
never happened.
Yes.
My staff will keep the gallery after we're no longer. They didn't get it. So,
Call the question.
Call the question.
it's all reversible.
So, okay, got it.
Wait, nothing to do with the vote. I just have a question. You say, you're saving the things that you're removing that are historical. Where do you keep them? Where do you store them?
In the
In
basement.
the cellar. We're gonna, the railings are gonna be mounted on and hang on one of the walls. And the marble, if we get permission to take it out, will be stored right there with it. So
Okay.
right on premises in the cellar.
That is connected with an elevator, the staff member are going to use the cellar, it's not just
we
like
would-
a dark.
The cellar which belongs to you, not.
Yeah.
You know how you hang platters with those?
Yeah, the bakery.
We're gonna do that. We're gonna just put hooks to hang it on. And it'll-
Where is it?
That's great.
What's it called?
I don't know.
It's offering for now.
It's a bakery?
Yeah, bakery seller,
So-
bakery seller.
We're gonna take a vote, right? 'Cause we
Yes.
Second it.
Because they're
All
four,
those in favor, put your hand up, please.
Right.
okay.
The motion is to approve?
Yeah.
Yes. Excuse me, I thought that was understood. Was it?
Right.
Well, was you?
Jason, I'll be happy to help write the resolution.
Okay, anyone opposed?
Let's try to see another couple.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions, any recusals? Motion carries, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I want to tell you, anytime we have. But also it's. I can give you my number. If you want.
Number, get a big fix.
Ready the whole thing?
Nice work, guys.
But seriously,
Oh, that's some bathroom.
if anybody wants to come to the
Yes.
space,
Comment.
other than during gallery hours,
Come on.
let us know. I would love to show you.
Okay.
And I can
Thank you.
show you the.
Oh, that's right. Great.
And the fake walls.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the trust.
Nice to meet you. Jason. Nice to meet you.
I want to say thank you.
Thanks a lot. Have a great night.
Thank you for the trust. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here for 110 South Street. Bye, guys. Here for 110 South Street. Oh, why, are they not here?
Yeah, they,
Bruce, what does that taste like? What does that taste like?
So,
Oh, no, I can't. I gotta try to lose weight. This is right?
Thank you. Emoji, yeah, that's a very good one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I like the tarot.
I'm going into a diabetic.
No.
All right.
I'll be recording.
Yes, yes.
Diabetic. Okay, Matt?
I don't want to, but.
To your kid.
I'm trying to.
You know, too. Good.
Thank you.
Take care. Good luck.
Yeah, but it was a COVID wave that I heard on, that I don't want to have
What
it.
happened to the next applicant?
Yeah.
Can we do it?
So, by the way, was that?
From
You didn't know that.
Well, I'm not sure.
I love it.
Well,
She did, I went, look how well she did a good job.
we told him that?
I
110 South Street.
Come on.
I know this building well. I almost.
By the way, I love
I saw it, I looked through this thing.
So you know, when I did that, it was just when Beijing was starting the Olympics and.
Let me figure out.
Yeah. 388 Broadway, yes. Okay, that's another rooftop. You're going, go, go, go.
By my desk, you have to come to this.
Great.
She's fabulous.
Okay. Finish it.
We shared this.
North design, I saw
No,
it.
seriously, that means a lot.
I have
Yep,
two.
yep, perfect, thank
If
you.
you know all about it, why
Stop
don't
it,
you
Golden
tell us
Steamer
what to
today.
do?
Take that golden steamer.
I mean, she's gonna tell us, but I know the, I know the building. Well, you know, for whatever reason. No, I don't want any more. So I'm actually.
Jason, we know this building?
admittedly, I'm trying to
One
get to that
time.
Nick's Mavericks game,
That's
and I'm gonna, I already committed to
Let's go.
missing the first
Got-
half.
Then there's another big one, vertical extension.
Yeah,
So come on.
yeah, we got it, These guys are good. That's
Well,
That's in the thing. Yeah,
so what happens to the one first?
not normally, but my son, you know, whatever, you gotta.
You
My son says to me, Dad, where are you? Oh, son, I'm spending 11 hours in community board meetings.
Right, exactly.
Who are you, Dad? Who recognize me?
Really?
I'm the one who pays school fees.
Wow.
It's more an overstatement.
How did you get it down to 11 hours?
Yeah, 11 hours.
Only believe me anymore, I Sam at the Lenox Square. I've been saying it so many, they think I'm like out doing something.
Okay, hit us up.
Okay.
The building is existing and it was taller, I know that much.
Yes,
So-
we
so
do
tell-
know.
So give us some background here.
Good evening, everyone. Julia Kutsker, my team, Smart Design, Alan, Nicolette. So we are humbled by the previous presentation. We have nothing else.
The building is older, so don't be humble, this is an older building.
We're
Yeah.
just as passionate about our
Good.
little baby as the guys out there.
Yep.
You know, future
Yep.
tech.
Before we go any further, didn't we approve this?
No,
Like 15 years ago?
no, it's Helena Block where Slavin Brothers.
Yeah.
That's on the corner.
Okay, sorry,
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah. So.
I thought we
You do
did.
that?
Okay.
Okay,
Wait, who are you?
Me too.
that's, EG, no? No, anyway. okay.
Oh, yeah, my
So
phone.
the proposed construction at 110 South Street, for your consideration tonight, located in South Import Historic District, dating back to early 1800s, federal style. Presently, the building, if any of you know it, is two-story. The proposal is to reconstruct the previously historically existing 4 stories. So the building, the property is visible from the public thoroughfare, from the intersections with Beacon Street and with the tax slip, as well as from the FDR. On Margaret, so this slide shows just a kind of a square where that building currently is. And this is an important slide, I think, for our presentation because. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to look. Oh, okay,
Okay, well, we got you,
Yeah, I
slide
got
4, that's existing,
yeah,
we're
so
good.
we're trying to bring to your attention early in the presentation that this building has always been a unique, unique child on the block. You know, the facade always stood out, being taller brick wall, and, you know, visibly noticeably bigger cornice, as well as obviously much bigger windows than the neighbors are.
Right.
This picture on the right shows the current state, quite dilapidated. Honestly, the building is in a pretty bad shape. But we intend to preserve absolutely everything that is there that can be preserved. There's a plaster and pilaster on, at the residential site, and I'm sorry, not residential, but the entries that we will preserve. We also intend to preserve the brick facade to the extent possible, as well as the metal awning, which we think is very, pretty and gives a lot of character to this building. So the existing conditions, again, I'm pointing out, demonstrate the substantial loss of the building bulk and historic features in the years. Now, this slide shows probably the projects that you mentioned. So there's a existing precedent on a block of edging space and a roof deck. and we're pointing it out on this slide, as well as something that you probably will remember immediately, the 107 South Street is the fairly recently approved project that landmarks themselves pointed out to us as a good,
We saw that recently,
Yeah.
yes, and it's a similar treatment. You're
Yes,
kind of
so.
federalizing it, but
Mhm. Our intention is obviously to stay with the character of the block, to continue and consistently, maintain that front facade, elevation, slope and region and so forth. So this block gives the idea of our approach, for the color scheme and the material selected. We are very lucky to find basically identical brick, if you could say so.
yes, it looks very identical.
Yes, we've done
Slide 7, guys, slide 7. So you're gonna reconstruct that facade, that 4-story facade, using some of this brick that's there, just like we saw in an historic photo. From the ground floor, we're talking about something that looks like it was built in the 1800s, in the early 1800s,
Yes.
right? Okay, good.
Yes.
Tell us about the roof. Tell us about the roof.
Yeah, the height.
No, that's okay.
Well, this is our favorite slide, of course, because next to the historic photo, we pretty much say,
Yes,
we're giving you the building, renewed, nice and shiny, and it's
See
gonna
this?
look just as great,
very
if
good,
not better.
very
So-
good.
Please note that the storefront, we were also went around in the.
Yeah, we say.
We have designed something that's very characteristic of the blocks around our property. So this is also the view I mentioned from the Brooklyn Bridge, and I intentionally using the montage with the presently approved 107, so you can see how we're really just continuing this trend starting from the corner and moving to the end of the block. This is the view from the FDR. Okay, and I know everybody's tired, but we did include all the initial zoning and floor plans and elevations for you to take a look, just so that you understand how far we went at this point.
It all complies with zoning, right?
Yeah, well, yes, yes.
Doesn't require a special permit, doesn't require.
No, we actually underbuilt, we remain underbuilt.
Sure, must
But
be.
because we have three years. And as far as community impact, we believe that bringing that quality dwelling over the commercial space is important, because that neighborhood, obviously starting for quality housing, affordable housing, we're not gonna, claim that we're bringing something very affordable, but it's gonna be a quality housing. And as a one-family dwelling, in that location, I think it will be new and really welcomed by the neighborhood.
Is this a spec single family?
So, yes,
Is it gonna be for sale?
yes.
So, right.
Good.
Okay, great. That's not important.
Actually, a little bit.
Is this
Yeah.
the same owner that's owned it for so very long time?
No,
So it recently was sold or something?
yes, yes. And the new owner is incredibly passionate about
It's a
landmarks.
not very big property, meaning it's very narrow, right? It's like
Yes.
16 feet or something, or?
You would think that, it's just a headache, but
No cellar, right? There's no cellar,
no, slab and grade.
the flood zone,
It's in a
there's a
flood.
highway in the middle of it.
That's right.
Still gonna make a million.
No, I love it.
$1 million.
Please, not a million, I don't think so.
Not only him, but also we're gonna reconstruct beautiful, house.
Okay. 5 million. There.
Okay, keep going, keep going, keep
Okay,
going.
so the clubhouse, so the main idea behind the dwelling is, of course, giving them this huge skylight and central staircase that will bring all that light, not the narrowing.
Upstairs, yeah.
Very nice.
That's nothing new, nobody didn't invent this, but,
Show us the roof.
yeah.
Yeah, let's start with the roof.
The section
We
is
don't
kind of
want
high.
The
So-
lawyers.
So I think the drawings are.
Yeah, I like, slide, there you go, slide 20, Bruce, look at slide 20,
Yeah.
okay? Because, yeah,
20.
So here's what we're getting at with
Within
this.
house section.
We are cutting through the stairs so you get the sense of what's going on there internally, but we also cutting through the roof right in the middle. So you can see what we did is we actually created a roof, but we opened it up. So we're not creating, a roof deck, that's
Yeah.
probably not appropriate there, but we are creating a roof with very similar to 107, only that we're not enclosing it, we're kind of leaving these wings.
I see it.
Wings flying, and I think we feel entitled to it, why? Because we're so narrow, with such a tiny
Yeah.
property, I mean, we really can do
we're maxing this out. This is really not our business, but Are you going to demolish the entire building on the inside and rebuild like a strong concrete building? Or are you gonna keep things from 100 billion years ago that are disgusting and rotted and?
No, I brought my favorite structural engineer who is equal.
Who's that?
His name is Bakhtam. I can
Okay,
introduce you.
okay.
So the
No, I
guy-
can't make it stuff,
Yeah.
it's not legal, but, okay.
He's very passionate about all the buildings, and what we both agreed on is that we are not going to mess with party walls. I don't even know if anybody does it. I don't have.
No, you're not gonna mess with party walls, no, the thing,
Anything.
but are there old wooden joists, 16? And are you gonna keep these disgusting things? I love there, I mean, if you build a new building and keep something from 120 years ago.
No, you're not. That engineer is not gonna let her.
Will not, it's gonna be a concrete building?
No, we are going to do a standalone.
Thank you.
Full floor, you
Yes,
know,
thank
steel
you.
above
Amazing.
Got you, okay, okay.
So we
I
will,
love
we will
this
give the future owners the autonomy of owning standalone.
It's even narrower.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
gonna lose a good.
Yeah,
there. It's not
unbelievable,
more.
I don't.
I mean, at this point, we're losing over a foot, but the benefit of that will be you own a building that's not affected by.
Gotcha, has to be, yeah,
So
great.
They can do whatever they want.
But listen, a party wall is made up of like one or two courses for this owner and one or two courses for
The
this
people that
owner.
play.
She's throwing it away, she does not, she's gonna just do independent building,
Yes.
2 inches away from both buildings on the side.
I have to look into how do I isolate and what do I do to really, provide that isolation.
The
between
seismic.
buildings.
Yeah.
But-
Keep going, 50, isn't it?
What are you doing? Never mind. Just-
1 inch of-
that's not-
I brought it up, but.
For 10 feet over.
So this is gonna be the tallest building on the block?
Yeah.
No.
No,
No,
No.
no.
Paris
It's
Cafe
not.
building is.
Oh, right,
taller.
And then the further down towards Beekman, right?
Is that
So where are you going with that?
Because if I'm understanding the drawings correctly, the building was always amongst the tallest buildings. and
Yes.
This is going to put something higher. So it's not gonna be in line with the buildings that you referred to, I think 107. It's gonna be higher. than this.
It's not gonna be higher than 107. I have
It's
to
not.
for 107. It's not gonna be higher than.
This is-
higher than.
These are the.
Yeah,
You know,
but this
you're
is,
reconstructing
this is the
four
top of the square.
stories. You're putting
You
a
don't even
federal
form
roof
this.
on the building, whether, I
I think
don't,
it should be-
I think there were part, it went flat and then it had this federal peak and then went back. Maybe originally it was a taller federal, we don't even know, the pictures don't exist, it's so early.
We found some information on the building website and it's still not very clear what exactly happened. And yes, that roof at some point was not consistent with the rest of.
Yeah, the other problems of
It had,
before.
so, but this one,
Yeah,
is this square the top of the square part or the top of the whole thing?
no, that's
Just representing the.
site.
Yeah.
Their,
Top of the arch, not the point.
their street wall is at about 40-something feet, and it's only a 4-story building. That rectangle doesn't, four-story on that is like very, very low on, well, listen, I study the building, so I hate to kind of push things around here, but their building is gonna be like, the 4-story is gonna end like there. And then they're gonna have a roof that comes like a little bit higher. Okay, so this line of the street wall is like, 8 feet taller than the rest of the street wall, but it was like that originally. No, this just represents,
Yeah.
well, there was a pitched roof, but it's hard to tell, there wasn't a high, way to see a picture
I'm
from.
not talking about, I'm talking about.
Just, I know what you're saying.
I'm not sitting here at all.
You are?
Uh-huh.
No.
Because I interested in.
Okay, so, who else has questions?
Whatever you say on this one.
Who else has questions?
I don't have a question.
Okay, I think it's a good proposal, generally, especially that you're recreating the thing, and so, we're not gonna be so critical of the back and make you put, double hung windows and blah, 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 because it's all gone.
Review to comment on the back.
Yeah, we do, but we're not on this one, we want them to develop this property and get this sleepy block, going again.
This is exactly what 107 did.
And wouldn't anyone do that to a townhouse that has the liberty to do the back and it's not contributing to the whole thing? Yes. Would be not, like you're saying, wouldn't really even be coming here. They would find a way to do it at staff level. Okay, any other
I
questions?
guess the thing that I don't love about, really what's been done with that entire block is that it's not just viewing it from the street. Most of the time you view it from the FDR. And it just looks, I mean, I don't know.
Well, what if I said height wise, I mean, how high is the peak of the thing? How high is the peak? Is the peak of the building less than 75 feet? I mean, you know, any building, any non-combustible building, any combustible building in this area is liable to be 75 feet tall, street wall. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, so I don't find the scale of it to be like out of context, although, you know, your body wants the whole block to read as the pitched roof all the way Dutch or all the way across, but it wasn't that for a significant period of the building, you know, historically significant period of the building's life. And, that's been there just like that since I went to grammar school and they took us down to the seaport, you know, like, seriously, like, you know, that's so,
Look, it's going to improve the neighborhood.
so much, right?
And
It's only 16
this
feet,
is
but
not about what we like.
Yeah, it's a
we
very
don't like.
narrow.
It's what the community would
Needs,
appreciate
right.
and needs. And the community would appreciate a
Well-
decent renovation.
But I think that's a different
That's-
question, like, yeah, it's sure, what, the community needs that, but I think there's an argument that the community probably doesn't need another mansion. Community-
What?
I think there's an argument that the community doesn't need another mansion if that's what we're going to be.
It's
You-
hobby.
We don't get to decide on that. I'm sorry, that's not in our purview.
I'm responding to what you said.
No, I said we have to comment on behalf of the community, and the community would be grateful to have this building renovated, brought up to date to, enhance the street. I'm not commenting on, sort of proprietary ownership rights.
Okay.
You may not like it personally, but we're not here to discuss that because we represent a whole bunch of people.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. I do. I call the question,
Second, want to be a man, but you can't say that. So-
Like my grandmother would have said, sure.
What does that mean?
Sure,
uh,
let them gain it.
Is that it? Do we have any more?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we
Good.
do, oh, okay.
We have two more, right?
you say,
I think it's.
no, you call for, no.
Second.
The wording. Call the question, they're voting for an approval. We
Right.
need a second.
Second.
There we go. All those in favor? No?
The opposite way. Any opposed, any abstentions?
Abstention.
Abstention, Sharon.
Okay,
Motion carries 6 in favor.
show us a rooftop extension.
There we
Talk
go.
about abstention, okay.
So we approve?
Yes.
Yes. Our advisory, comment is that you're approved. Welcome. Yeah, do it.
I didn't know so much about the budget.
I was, I wanted to buy it many years ago. The guy wanted way too much money and, you know, and I just saw it as a lot of money. But it's amazing, it's amazing. And,
Excited to break that.
yeah, good, good. Be careful. It looks old. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
But you know, they actually, because there was a fire.
Oh, okay.
Also, right, that's why they got rid of the third and fourth.
Yeah,
floor.
yeah.
So the doors are like on the second floor, all new.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Okay, then.
Anyway, thank you.
Good luck, good luck. Thank you.
So, my name's Sean Anderson. I've been involved in 388 Broadway since 2008.
Thank you.
I originally presented a larger, you remember? I presented a larger vertical extension proposal for this project about 12 years ago for this, committee board.
A larger.
A larger version. This is a slightly smaller version. Wow. This is a 15-foot shorter version of the one that I presented.
Okay,
I know,
Subject.
I'm doing some research and getting information from. If he
Sir, which one?
presented this 15 years ago.
It's two.
Someone gave him something. He's young.
No, this one.
It
that
was
one,
12.
yes.
I think I do.
How can I not remember?
Well, you know.
What?
Sorry.
So this is a block through building.
So I'm actually-
Portland Alley style.
You want to do it?
Oh, it's Portland Alley?
Yeah, Broadway.
Ah,
Goes through the whole block.
right.
170 feet or something. 175 feet.
So
This one I might pay attention.
space.
You're just so transparent. It doesn't interfere.
I can't help it. It's been 25 years. What do you-
You know,
You are entitled.
Hopefully on the third floor.
well, you know, you can get it out.
Yeah.
Oh, like, just like the one that was already once, there's one just,
So I was speaking to Sarah Bartlett about getting some of John Petrarca's work that he did, the book that we never published, with competitions in Quebec that he worked on.
well, that's, how do you know?
That's true.
He's got a PI on you.
So, you know, if you look at this, roughly 70% of the buildings in our immediate area in the Rebecca East Historic District have rooftop additions.
I believe it.
Now, starting with that.
You're familiar with the building that's already, a new building that went from Broadway to Quayton, and similar is with that tree, right?
Yes, on, the other, between, Franklin?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So there's only one like that.
So, this first slide, obviously, a lot of different addresses. The LPC asked us specifically the addresses, rooftop additions. We put lots of red arrows showing them in the area. There are all sorts of sizes involved. Some of them are 2 and 3 stories. All sorts of different arrangements. You look at 388 Broadway, this is our proposed. It does have a setback from Broadway, so there's no visibility from Broadway, very important for LPC. Although, if you jump down, sorry, these are in a different order. If you jump down to 394 Broadway, which is on our exact same block, it does have a rooftop addition that is full width of the lot and completely visible, with dormers from Broadway on 394. And part of why I wanted John's work was to figure out if that was pre-designation or post.
But John did a whole thing about rooftop extensions. I
Yeah.
thought that's what you were talking about.
I don't have that. I was asking Sarah for access to his records.
But what specific project are you referring to, John? Because I know most of them. You're talking about a
So
specific.
he wrote about all the rooftop improvements in Tribeca, but it doesn't have it published.
Right, and the point of it was to get LPC to recognize view corridors inclusive of higher floors, not just from the ground.
Yeah.
That was the point.
Well, I mean, I was trying to get access to some of the research and don't know about that,
I'm
but
sorry, can we just start this? So, you're the architect?
I am not, I'm 2 of 6 tests away from being a licensed architect.
No, but I
Working for Brent Porter Architects.
Okay, and this is a single-family dwelling that goes, the depth of the entire block?
The existing is 1853 loft building, 175 feet from Broadway to Cortland Alley. It is a loft law IMD building with IMD tenants still in residency. And it's mixed use.
And you're proposing to do what?
To build a 2-story extension on top, there will be 2 new units.
There will be 2 new units.
2 new units.
And what about the IMD tenants?
It will not affect them at all.
Okay.
And this is all as of right,
So it's as of right, and when you do the angles, are you fulfilling what needs to be fulfilled for landmarks approval? That you are not visible where you don't have to be visible? Because I don't want to listen to like what other buildings are getting for approved. I want to know first. where,
Is there a mock-up?
I was gonna ask the same thing. There is not a mock-up.
there's not a 3D markup and there's
No, no,
no steel elevation.
Real
Oh,
Rick, you know.
Like how far setback is this?
we did a physical,
Okay.
we did a physical mock-up, and then DOB made us take it down. 'cause it was done
Been
wrong.
there, done that.
We have to go back and redo it. We put flags up. So all these photos were taken with flags up. If you look at the,
Well, how did you do it wrong? It's a very.
And you didn't have a permit.
it wasn't permitted in.
That's
how we did it wrong.
Yeah, that's how we did it
He
wrong.
had a complaint from a neighbor and it
Blah, blah,
turned
blah,
into
blah,
a
blah.
fire.
Yeah.
It was unspeakable.
I
But if you
didn't
look
get
at the setback on the A,
Which property, which street is considered the front?
to Broadway, sorry.
Okay, so Broadway, you're set back how much from the front?
We're
Right
set
here.
back, 15 feet, well, that's 12 interior.
Gotcha.
I
Okay,
guess
well, it's 15 feet.
15 feet. We're not touching historic facade, the cornice, anything.
Okay, so hold on a second. So this is 15 feet
Yep.
from here to here?
Mhm.
Please mark that. It would be helpful. And when you're standing here, this should be drawn, right? There's rules about how this works.
She wants to see the sight line on the drawing.
Don't mess with me.
We provided photos. No, I got it. We'll add all those notes.
Well,
I provided
because we need
photographs.
to know if this is your front and this is your rear elevation, then we, we would know to ask the right questions about whether you're visible or not.
So you asking him to come back?
No, hold on. You have pictures.
I have
of the video.
photos.
Let's get taken the
Let's see
nitty-gritty.
those.
Yes,
I
Put 'em
put
up.
them taken from the street view.
put them up.
Scroll.
Plug it back. View one.
So, the building to the south of us, 390 Broadway, is taller than our proposed extension. And the adjacent building is also taller. There's no visibility through that to the north. So
This is
there-
on Broadway.
This is on Broadway looking, north. On Broadway, White Street, there's no visibility.
So that intersection is what?
That is the corner of Broadway and White.
Broadway and White, this is the northeast corner.
Okay. And if you go to the view two, I think there's a map on the earlier page showing where.
Go back.
view angles are.
But, yeah, we can go.
Sorry.
You have to label these things, sir.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it.
Here.
He's got it. View two.
I'm sorry, here are a bunch of buildings. Which one?
I hear you. Okay, I know which one this is, but
Well,
okay.
that's,
We got it.
that has to be, yeah.
These
There's
two
both.
is, you're here, right?
No, the last one, we have a tall building.
You
Okay.
don't even know where.
They're all consistent.
I see, that's White
That's
Street,
what the
yeah.
tall building. But because of the angle.
Okay, we got view number one.
But now I see
Building
view number
setback.
two, you don't have visibility.
That's no-
And you display that because you have this
Now,
illegal
where
flag
there,
lock up.
where there is visibility.
Okay.
In Woodland Alley.
Okay,
Looking straight up, there is some visibility.
But wait a minute, we give you one, now we're on view two, or we?
Sorry, yeah,
I jumped to view two, I'm sorry.
But wait a
View
minute.
one,
No, we did view one.
Okay, view
What
two,
about view two?
view two.
no visibility.
There's no visibility. Because of the setback
Yep.
Okay,
and the steepness of, the facades on Broadway.
Right.
View three,
Now, view
that's
three
Cortland Down.
is where there is some visibility.
hard to see in this photo.
It's hard to see because
I
it's also
see it now.
extremely steep, but if you look all the way down, the closest building is, 394, which does have a vertical extension, and if you look at the images, I'm gonna.
So this is the southernmost block of Cortland, and you're like two buildings in.
There's one block further.
There is one other block
Yeah, of course.
behind the old Harley Davidson.
But if you look at, sorry, this right here, 394 Broadway does have a full one-story extension built all the way to Cortland Alley to Broadway. Was it built before designation or after that? We haven't determined yet, but it is a full floor extension.
Well, let's assume it's totally legal. I mean, it's built and people are.
It's been there a long time and it's a vertical extension.
Okay. I don't see a lot of visibility, honestly, on view three. I'm just not seeing it, really. How far setback are you from Portland Alley?
It's
not,
it's a lot. Well,
Oh, you're going flush.
right to the corners.
So don't you want to give them a little 5-foot terrace and make no visibility? I mean, why don't we just do it and not make it visible?
Square footage, dollars per square footage.
There you go.
Dollars per square footage.
Center court.
They can
So-
only get 25% of the
Yeah.
interior square footage on the exterior.
I'm with Bruce on this one.
I'm not.
You can't be.
Okay. All right, well, how about you before then?
So,
It's the same thing, so when you go back.
the fact that these drawings are not correctly marked is just.
You've got it. You're-
View four looking
We're
north.
17 minutes discussing the location of your project. That's a problem.
View four looking north, the building to the south of us is taller. So there's
This one.
visibility, yes.
Oh.
That's 390
But I
Broadway.
can't,
But what if I was looking from more
No.
east? Wouldn't there be visibility there?
You have to be, if you're completely past it, you can't see. It's 100 feet down the corner.
Mhm.
You can't look around this building.
from fantasy, I should be able to see it. Okay, I should be able to have a concept of it.
Okay.
If you look.
And I'm not an architect.
You look at the map, it's, go back to the map.
Sorry.
It's on the photo right now.
I think we need more.
If you look with the
I
arrows.
agree.
No,
Let him come back.
And I also have.
I don't understand this.
What the
Yeah.
extension looks like.
Well, so here is.
I
the
would like to
issue.
look at that.
This is where, I'm sorry.
Is the extension material or the extension itself rendered in this downtown.
Yes, right here, look. And this is what I'm saying, this is at Broadway, right? So here, he's 15 feet set back. Here, he's flush. So this elevation reading here, this architecture has nothing to do with this.
I see.
And how sad this extension is, even if it's not seen, how sad this elevation is to sit on top of this majestic building. I propose that, we turn this down with some objections. First, starting with a full presentation, showing all the, proper setbacks, showing all the streets labeled, and, showing all the materials for the two elevations.
I would give him a shot at doing it.
Yeah,
That's what I
I
would.
would too.
Oh, that's what you're doing, yeah.
I wouldn't turn it down.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know how to do that. I just say you.
I would give him a shot to come back with all the things we want.
Yeah, we have to see.
We have to see.
This is our first time seeing this project, by the way.
In 12 years, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
well, so the,
Taller version previously.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you have to come back.
That taller version was approved?
No,
Okay, well, then you don't have to tell us about it. I'm just, if it was approved.
no, wasn't approved.
I mean, you know, I'm not gonna, that's, if you get, that seems to be where the room is going. So I'm not gonna step ahead of that, but I think,
I just need more information.
yeah.
I really don't know what it looks like.
The material on the Portland side, since it's flush.
There are
Um,
no windows, there's no material.
Nothing, I know.
We have to
would
see.
you come back? Would you take another shot in a month and come back, please?
Well,
And not have hard feelings?
yeah, no, please don't, because what we're helping you is, prepare for the presentation, landmarks. We'll ask the
Thank you.
same questions,
But
and
doesn't
you
matter.
won't be prepared.
Sure. The right response.
So
That's
an
it.
axiometric would be
can't-
nice,
Yeah.
site, additional sight lines.
We want a better, we want it better. You've so,
But
we're
you
not
know-
asking for.
You don't have-
Quarters of the way
You know,
there.
But we need more information.
you don't have to do like number one presentation. That was beautiful. But,
I'm going home to suck my.
And wait, you have to pick up one where, guys.
oh, yeah, yes.
Right, so the second, they kept you recording.
Oh, that's true.
So,
Is anyone making a motion to adjourn?
Yes,
I take a motion.
And second, thank you.
like this drawing, that just shows that we don't see it, which, you know,
I need your.
and you have a long block, so it's 100 of it, but very much not.
Ah.
This was a good meeting. Thank you. Good night.
It's coming to you.
No, man.
Guys, good.